Yeah, trying to figure out how to get up higher. That is, I know I've done it once before, and I know it has, well, if I remember correctly, it has something to do with these elevators. But, yeah, uh, like that's it. That's the stairs all busted out. I'd have to make some ladders or something to get up higher. And, I, worked my way over to the elevators here, and they're closed. So, oh, there's a big hole here. I gotcha, I gotcha. I knew there was a way up here. Oh man, shipping is full. Why is this shipping on the third floor? Why is the bookstore shipping ovens and counters? There you go. That seems more accurate. So, uh, yeah, we went from hugely noisy morning to nobody's home but me afternoon. Oh, let me tell you about today. So get an email last week saying Thursday, big meeting. Today being Thursday, and make sure to mark your calendars. And it's going to be this webinar, and it's going to start at noon. I'm like, well, that's like the middle of my workday. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'll just go ahead and get up early. So I set the alarm for about an hour and a half early, and I'm like, that way I can get going, I can get a bunch of work done before we get started, and then that way it doesn't push my evening of work out any later than it has to. And yeah, so I went to bed about 3, set my alarm for about 10, and I say about because I get up at 9:15 on Sundays every week, and so usually my alarm is set to 15 minutes after whatever hour I set it to, and because I don't reset it to zeros and start over, and oh, because I'm using an actual clock as my alarm. Hey guy. I'm not using like my cell phone or something where I can just set it to a specific time, or it holds multiple times. I have an alarm, old style alarm clock. It's not even old style. You know what's weird? Speaking of alarm clocks, I've just got normal old clock, digital clock, and when I was younger, I had a similar clock, and it had a toggle to toggle between bright and dim, and the clock numbers were red. And so I kept it on dim because when I was younger, I liked it to be pitch black in the room when I was sleeping. Now, I still prefer it to be pitch black in the room while I'm sleeping, but I had to get used to it not being because they don't sell that kind of clock readily available anyways. And so when I had to go get a new clock, I probably looked at 20 clocks, and I finally just gave up and bought the one that I have. And it's got bright green numbers, and there's no way to turn them down. And so after I bought it, this has nothing to do with my story about today, but after I bought it, I actually used to tip my clock so the numbers face down, so that I didn't get any light from it. I don't do that anymore. My room has got so many things in it at the moment that give off light. It's ridiculous. Uh, But I find that weird that you can't dim the clocks for your bedroom. Well, I mean, there probably are dim clocks for your bedroom, but not. They used to be a standard feature, and it's not there anymore. And anyways, so I set my alarm for about 10, which I know you're like, oh, an early. Yeah, it's not early. Yeah, well, my job's on my schedule for the most part, so I usually work till 7 o'clock at night, and sometimes 8, depending on how the day goes. And a couple of times it's been 10 o'clock, to be honest. And so, there's a huge bang this morning, and people yelling, people being mostly the children, and screaming, and I hear their dad, talking to them about whatever it is that's going on, and so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not ready to get up. It's only 8:30. I've only been asleep for about 5 hours, and I like to get a little more sleep than 5 hours of sleep, or at least try to. And so we, whatever happened, the noises didn't stop, and just noise. So I just gave up. Got up about 9 this morning, and because I had to be up anyways in like I had to be up at 11 basically, but I had my alarm set for 10:15, and so what am I gonna do? Try to sleep for another hour and a half or so, or just get up and get some extra work done and maybe finish early today. And so I get up, I check the schedule on the meeting. It's all, make sure I know what time it starts, and that way I know to join the webinar. Now let me stress again, it's a webinar. It's a thing done over the internet remotely, on my computer from another computer. And so about 11:30, I get an email that says, here's the link to the recorded webinar. I'm like, oh no, did I miss the webinar? Did I get my times wrong? Because I work for a international company, and so most of the time the times are not listed in good old USA standard. And so I've yet to translate incorrectly from their time to my time. And so it's not been an issue, but I thought, man, I must have got it wrong, because sometimes time change screws me up. I know we are not having time change, but I couldn't remember from the last meeting if they were still an hour different than I was expecting, or if they're back on. And so yeah, I read a little farther down, and the webinar is canceled. I'm like, oh, okay. So they sent me a link to a recording they made to watch in place of the webinar. So I guess no interaction between us and them. Well, me and them, I guess. And oh, no, why'd you do that? I guess it didn't matter. And so I get down reading a little farther. The webinar that's online from one computer to another has been canceled due to adverse weather conditions. Now, it makes sense. Apparently they're having a blizzard, and the training webinar that we were attending is done from another country, And, oh, did I not do an entire room of boxes back here? Oh no, I just haven't been over there. And, but it's just, and so the people don't want to stay to do an hour webinar when there's a blizzard. I get it. It makes sense. It's just funny when you think about it because it's a webinar and it got canceled for weather. uh, yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny. I thought that was not like super ha-ha, but it was humorous. Uh, I found it to be humorous, anyways. So then, let's see. I watched Black Panther. It was okay. Not near as good as everybody saying it is. I, I mean, I've watched a lot of movies over the years. A lot. I've talked before about how we used to rent all the new releases every week, and I did that for years. I've seen thousands of movies. Thousands of movies. And so it's pretty rare for a movie to be like, "Oh wow, that was spectacular." So I don't really go into movies expecting them to be spectacular or anything. I can't get up here very easy. How much life do these have? A lot. All right. Well, just not gonna worry about it then. And so I'm a little curious about this ladder here, though. Why is there a ladder there? Whoa. You see that? There's a door here behind this refrigerator. Um, and so, it was all right. All I've heard is like it's the best movie ever, and this movie's perfection, and all this hype about this movie, but not just like hype, not like critics say this movie is gonna change your life kind of stuff. No, this is from people I know, people I pay attention to online, and I'm like, dude, that is not gonna fill up your hit points the way you think it is. I will though. And it was all right. It wasn't even probably in my top 5 Avengers movies. I felt that the storyline that Black Panther had in Civil War was better. Um, I watch. I haven't finished The Punisher yet for some reason. I really need to just sit down and finish that. I even started it over once to try and watch the whole thing again, and I still haven't finished. I don't know why, because I like it better than the last couple of Netflix Avengers stuff. Oh, I've already been here, and haven't I? I've gone all the way around in a circle. I gotcha. And um, it hasn't particularly happened in The Punisher, but both the Defenders, well, not just both, the Defenders, I don't remember if it happened in the first season of Jessica Jones. This did not go up to the roof. I was thinking this went up to the roof. Is there a path up to the roof? Where's this stairway? One of these corners should have a stairway in it. And but Netflix does this thing. Well, it's not Netflix directly, but Marvel's got this thing going with their Netflix series where they, and it's weird, here we go. They start out with one storyline and then they switch halfway through the season. And so an example for this, we'll take Luke Cage. Luke Cage starts with one bad guy. And halfway through the season, they switch to a different bad guy. It's jarring. It's a different kind of bad guy. It's very jarring to me when that happens. And it kind of detracted from the show. And so then we get Iron Fist. Iron Fist kind of does the same thing. It starts off with one bad guy. Halfway through, we switch bad guys. In fact, Iron Fist kind of did it 3 times. I just looked for these guys and they weren't visible. And so it's not good for me for the storyline to swap like that in the middle. It doesn't work for me. And so I like a good slow burn on my stories, I guess. I mean, it's got to be interesting. It can't just be, But I like that season finale reveal of what's been going on and how it's all been a lie or whatever is happening. And, oh man. Something weird was going on in there. And, this is weird too. No. We each get our own door, man. Oh, is it all the same door? And, so, I'm watching Black Panther. Black Panther does the same thing. In fact, Black Panther's about 4 different stories, all crammed in the same movie. And they're only a little bit related. And so that's just weird that it's like they start with I don't want to give too much away, but they start with one thing that plays into part 2's bad guy, and then they swap to a different bad guy. No, they swap to 2 different bad guys, and then they have an instance with one of the bad guys, and then you dirty buggers. That killed me one time when I was in here. I don't know how to get out either. And I'm also not sure how I got up there. Oh, there's not a doorway here. And so yeah, they start off with one thing, and then they swap to another thing, and then after they resolve that thing, which is related to the first thing, a little tiny bit, maybe, and they talk about what happened, and then for the second thing, and the past of the second thing, and it ties into some of that stuff, but not really. Not really. And then after that, it jumps over to a different bad guy, and then they basically have what felt to me like a James Bond movie in the middle of it, and it really bothered me. how like James Bond it was, uh, and because of some of the tones of the movie, all I could think of was, okay, so I know that the old guy who made James Bond said you couldn't have a black James Bond, but you know most people don't really mind. Um, so is this you trying to prove that you could have one? Because there's a Q moment where they talk about all their gadgets. There's car chases. You know, there's the beautiful woman that only kind of likes him at the moment, but you know he's gonna end up with. Um, you know, and it was very all one drink. All I needed was to order that martini, and he'd have been James Bond at that one section of the movie. And you know, cars with fancy gadgets, and I'm just like, did you watch Civil War? Did you watch Civil War and see the really cool stuff that went down in Civil War with Black Panther that I was hoping this movie was gonna be like? And and I didn't get it. It was not. It was not. And so it's okay. I enjoyed it. I'm not saying it was terrible. I'm just saying it wasn't what I was expecting. It was not as good for me as people were saying it was going to be. And then they just abruptly, halfway through the movie, swap bad guys. Uh, and and then that bad guy isn't even really that great of a bad guy, to be honest. Um, he was interesting, but he only got half a movie, and so we didn't get to build up anything. And then the movie was over, and I'm just like, eh. For me, you're a middle of the run Avengers movie. Um, Civil War's my favorite, I think. Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is one of my favorites. And so that's what I'm comparing things to um, when I compare my Avengers movies. Are you good enough to dethrone Civil War or Guardians of the Galaxy 1? Or I really liked Thor 2. Um, I really liked Iron Man. Uh, and so, you know, I don't know. I expected more Black Panther and less not Black Panther, I guess. Because there is. Oh, and I have to. I mean, I've already given a little bit of the movie away, but I have to give one thing completely away. Um. And that's. I mean, you've seen Wakanda, right? They have super advanced technology. Oh, there's a battery box. Man, I need one of those. I need the recipe for one of those. And that's why I'm in here, searching this place. Oh, I eat that. And so part of the movie, most of the movie is about, well, part of the movie is about their technology. So I'm not gonna give anything away with that. And you know, that's all well and good, but there's a part where they're moving technology, weapons, and they load them onto their anti-grav, basically spaceships, and start flying them off. And Black Panther destroys one of those ships, and it crashes into the ground. And later, while they're fighting, because there's like huge battle scenes. Um, while they're fighting, one of the characters whistles and summons rhinos. Out of the crashed, basically, spaceship. Okay. Not robot rhinos. Not cybernetic rhinos. Why am I carrying crushed sand? Just big old rhinoceros. Wearing metal plates. And I'm like, what in the world is going on in this movie? They have all this technology. They have mentioned all the technology they have access to. Oh, he didn't grab it. Why didn't you grab it? You were right in front of it. They mention all this technology they have from Wakanda. They show flying around spaceships. They've got... There you go. They show their magnetic train system. They talk about hover bikes. They've got, you know, cars that are, you know, super powerful that they drive around in one part of the movie. And they're going to fight. And so when they're opting for what technology to take with them to fight with, they opted for rhinoceroses with armor plating. Just rhinoceroses. And I'm like, weird. Just weird. There wasn't even a reason for it. They never gave a reason why there's rhinoceros. Like, it wasn't like, this is the traditional mount of the Wakandian Guard, or, you know, we've equipped these rhinoceros with super vibranium weapons of mass destruction. They're more mobile than a tank. I'm not sure rhinoceroses are more mobile than a tank, but and they can't be stopped with their vibranium enhanced horns or whatever. Nope, none of that. Just shows up with a rhinoceros dressed in armor. Not a lot of armor either, just a few pieces. And it didn't even really do anything. It ran around the battlefield a little bit. And I'm just like shaking my head at the fact that they're in Wakanda, the most advanced nation on the planet. Possibly. I mean... and they got all this technology, but they opted for armor-plated rhinos as whatever reason they needed armor-plated rhinos for. Yeah. Oh, did you not read it? But yeah, it was okay. It was an okay movie. I enjoyed it. Maybe not the rhinos, but I enjoyed the rest of it. They were cool looking. Don't get me wrong. And there was a scene in there that I enjoyed what happened with the rhinos, but yeah, it's just weird that they're there. And then yeah, that was Black Panther, I guess. The other thing that went down since last episode, of course, is we got our episode of D&D in last night. Usually talk about that on here. I think I can do it quick. Not a lot happened, but Yeah, we finally made it into the next round of the game, and so our DM last week nearly killed us, and this week he played it off like it wasn't that bad. He's like, yeah, you guys had a little bit of a struggle, but it wasn't that big a deal. And it seemed like it was gonna be a tough fight, but you managed to get out of it without too much going on. I'm like, what are you talking about? We almost died. I healed for like 150 hit points, and you're not even supposed to heal in D&D. That's just something you do in an emergency. I think I think my bed is right here, so I don't want to climb back down. I'm just gonna jump off. Plus I got that sprained leg, and this will heal it. There's some realism for you, right? Just fling myself off the zombie-infested building. Oh, and now it's nighttime, so that'll be lots of fun. And so, so we also talked about how we should have got more XP, and he's like, we'll discuss that later. And not saying he wanted to talk about it later, but that we would be discussing how much XP. Oh man, I don't even have weapons equipped. There's like a whole crowd of them right there too. I need like one more minute. This is gonna be interesting. And so so yeah, it was like we're gonna talk about the XP situation from last week later, and I'm like, all right, good, because you said you use this tool to plan it out, and then I used the same tool, and it said we should have gotten 4 times the amount of XP you gave us. I don't. I don't think there's any way that I can get my stuff back at the moment. Oh, there is. There is. Provided in the dark here, I can find my bike. Okay. Now my bike is in pretty good repair. Got full tank of gas. Can't run stuff over though, which is gonna make it a little trickier here. Yeah, I've got a whole giant crowd of these guys chasing me. Oh, it is day 7. Oh, see, I'm in trouble. This is the day 21 horde. I definitely should have checked the time before I dove off that building. Anyways, let's finish our story, and then I'll figure out this mess. And so, so yeah, I was expecting an actual discussion about the XP, but the discussion turned into, you got what you got. I don't want to hear any more about it. I'm like, you're the one that said we were going to discuss it. That's not a discussion. Nobody even said to you that anything about XP. And then you're like, yeah, we're going to discuss last week's XP issue. And then your discussion is just to say, you got what you got. Yeah, I've really only got 2 more things to talk about with last night's session, so it shouldn't take me too long here. Where'd all those zombies go? There. Okay, I need you guys to follow me. And, So we get started, and he runs our guys into an ambush without giving us any kind of rules or discussion about how we're moving or anything like that. He gave me this sword on my rogue that doesn't allow her to be surprised, and then took a surprise round against me. Well, no, he doesn't consider it a surprise round because he let the bad guys go first, and then I got to go as well, and then everybody else rolled for initiative to start the actual combat. So, but he did allow the bad guys to go first automatically, which is technically a surprise round, which negates the ability of that sword completely, which means it's just another +1 rapier, which I already had 2 +1 weapons before he gave me that. Where is... Dang it, I almost got rid of him. I gotta go slow enough out this way, I guess, to get them to chase me. And then if I can come around the other side a little faster. Although me going full blast isn't really that much faster. Okay, now, where is... There. Shoot, I did these in the wrong order. Yep. Dang it, dang it. Dang it. This is gonna be tricky. And then, anyway, so we, yeah, that wasn't really a lot of fun at the beginning. It was really going bad, and then he locked doors and wouldn't let us through things, and then, yeah, it was bizarre. The XP thing, though, and then he told us that we were gonna level up this week, right? He told us last week we couldn't get enough XP to level up, and that we would level up this week. And this week, he told us that he's waiting for our next long rest. He made us take 2 long rests before we even got started. And because of the way he did things the previous week, he basically left us without a long rest. Or, no. We took a long rest. He gave us a fight that was so big that it left us with needing another long rest at 11 a.m. game time. And then no. What I need is I need to find this right here. I can't even see it. It's so dark. So he left us needing a long rest already to start with, and so we couldn't even get going to go into the second round of the game because we had to rest again. And so after we rested, then he made us take another long rest, and before we could go into the place. And then when we doled out XP at the end of the night, he's like, yeah, you guys didn't get enough XP this week to level up. And we're like, you told us we were going to level up this week, but whatever. He's like, fine, you want the XP? Here you go. I'm going to give you 300 extra XP each. But you're not going to level up. You're not going to level up until you hit your next long rest, because I don't want you to level up until we're done with this. And so you're not going to get to level up until you hit that next long rest. Okay, then you've just negated XP. We've now switched over to milestone, which is a perfectly fine way to level up your characters if that's how you've been doing it. But we've been playing this campaign for almost, I don't want to say a year. I don't think it's been a year, but it's got to be going on 6-7 months now. I think we started in like June, so that's almost 8 months, 9 months, something in there. And yeah, you know, suddenly we got our XP, but we're not allowed to use it, and so we have to wait until our next long rest. Who knows when that's going to be, before we're allowed to level up our characters. We have enough XP to level up now, so go ahead and set your stuff, but don't change any of your stats for it, because you're gonna have to long rest before you can do your level up. Like, oh, thanks. Okay, now. Yep. Nope, I got my armor. So now we're pushing in the general direction I need to go. So let's drive over here. And then let's stop. And, whoops. Get my armor on and get my headlamp on. And then crash into a boulder. But yeah, it's frustrating because I wanna... Oh no. Oh no, there's no blue bag. I have no idea where my stuff is now. Great. I'm running through my head. Did I have anything super important? My sniper rifle? I've got a backup sniper rifle, I guess. Not as good as that sniper rifle, though. It should be down here someplace, right? I have no idea where. Anyways, so yeah. And he still hasn't gotten back to me on what subclass I'm allowed to upgrade into for my next level here. So I guess I should probably ask him about that. Alright, with that, click like if you like, subscribe, share, and catch the next one. I will talk to you later.